Good morning. Today I'll read to you chapters 61 through 64 of Thus Spake Christopher, my treatise on non-duality, which is loosely modeled in format after Nietzsche's Thus Spake Zarathustra. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. And I've got to take care of a couple of housekeeping measures first, get some panels out of the way so that I can see what's going on. All right. As usual, everything can be found at www.docbenton.com. If you go down or go to the section, The Best of Doc Benton, then here's where you'll find Thus Spake Christopher. You can open up or download the whole text. And here we are at chapter 61 out of 72. So, chapter 61. The man asked, "What do you mean when you say that the righteous must go naked?" I began to answer. We wear various garments to protect ourselves from the environment and others, and we wear garments of various sorts to protect others from ourselves. Not all of our garments are made of cloth, though. We also wear mental and emotional garments. Thus, the persona is a garment for the ego, just as much as a suit is a garment for the body. Furthermore, every time we make an assertion such as, "I am a Jew," or "I am a Christian," or "I am a Muslim," that noun following "I am" is a garment that we put on. No noun that we put after "I am" is ever anything other than a garment. And just as our clothes protect us, these other garments that we identify with also provide both identity and protection. Nonetheless, we are not the garment, and there comes a time when, instead of identifying ourselves with the garment, we have to realize that we are not male or female or this or that. We're simply I am. When we realize this, then the garments will begin to fall off, and we will live and experience life naked. This is not, however, something that one can force. It only happens of its own accord once one has reached a certain level of understanding, a certain level of righteousness, as some might say. And when one has, then one will be completely naked, and their outside will be like their inside. Thus spake Christopher. Chapter 62. The man asked, "Why is charity important?" I began to answer. As I have indicated before, there are two forces in this world that are diametrically opposed to one another. One of these leads the world to greater disorganization and randomness. It is a force of decay, and yet decay is necessary because all change first requires the destruction of what came before. The other force, though, is one that leads to greater organization. It builds anew on the decay that the other force has created. It is a force that is embodied in human beings and all other structures and living organisms that represent highly organized states of matter. In the long run, decay always wins. Eventually, all things must pass. Nonetheless, in the short run, organization can win just so long as there is a constant flow of resources in and out of the living being or the highly organized structure. With such a flow, parts that have decayed can be removed and then replaced by new organization. Thus, living organisms continue to exist by means of this constant giveaway from one thing to another. Plants give oxygen to mammals, and mammals give carbon dioxide to plants in return. The prey gives its life to the predator, and eventually the predator will give its life so that something else may live. All life must participate in the giveaway if life is to continue, and that is why charity is important. We must all give so that others may live, just as others have given to us so that we may live. As the Book of Commentaries and the Book of Learning say, the world is built upon garbage, and it is through charity that death is overcome. It is so important that even the poor must participate in this giveaway. Also, we must close the loop by giving back to the source of life, and we can do this by both giving to others and by entering into silence to commune with the true self. Thus spake Christopher. Chapter 63. The man asked, how can I consider myself a success, given how many times I failed? I began to answer, I have attained every goal I had when I was younger, and yet I have failed far more often than I have succeeded. However, this is natural. Think about it. How many times did you have to crawl before you could walk? How many times did you have to fall before you could stand? It is thus natural to have many more failures in life than successes. But it is also your failures that have led you to your successes. Again, this is natural. Thus count your successes, but not your failures. Don't count them at all. All that matters is that you ultimately succeeded. Thus spake Christopher. Chapter 64. The man next asks, do you practice any form of Kundalini meditation? I began to answer. When I was young, I practiced Kundalini meditation and many other spiritual practices. And as a result, I experienced many exotic states of consciousness. However, there's a time for rituals and a time to say goodbye to rituals. At the start, practices and rituals serve a purpose to help draw us closer to a sense of divinity. However, over time, the purpose of these rituals may change to only perpetuate themselves. And after you realize your true identity, do you need these rituals anymore? Do you need, for instance, to perform any ritual to know that you are alive and that you exist? No. Likewise, the person who has realized the self does not need to perform any ritual to know what he already knows. And the person who is ignorant of his true identity doesn't need to perform any ritual to maintain his ignorance. One either knows or doesn't know, and neither needs to perform a ritual to maintain their stance. So no, I don't practice any forms of Kundalini meditation these days, but as I become absorbed into the self, Kundalini manifestations arise on their own. My life force naturally retreats into the spine and rises of its own accord to the top of my skull, where it merges with an awareness that travels from a spiritual heart on the right side of the chest, a source of primordial consciousness that some experience, and also with threads of light from above. And from there, a journey of endless treasures and delights begins. Thus spake Christopher. Okay, that is the last of the readings that I'll do in this video. And next time, I'll pick up with chapter 65. So let me stop sharing my screen. And I'm back. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope to see you again. In the meantime, be kind to yourself. Be very kind to others too. And for now, I'll just say so long and be well.